God doesn't really care for me. Why? Because he hasn't heard me. If he really cared for me, he would hear me. I'm praying, I'm groaning, I'm crying out, and there's nothing that indicates that God's hearing. So he must not care. If he cared, he would hear. He doesn't hear, therefore he doesn't care. We shake our fists at God, and we get angry with God. How dare he not hear when we pray? The Bible, however, makes it clear that God does hear us when we pray. God hears us. So it is wrong, it is erroneous for us to assume that he's not hearing. And it's also erroneous for us to assume that because he's not hearing, that these other things are true. He doesn't care for us. The worst is ahead of us. We shouldn't follow him. There's several things that we need to remember. First is this: it is a privilege to be heard by God. God is upholding the universe by the power of his might, and yet God hears us. Think about that. He flung the stars into space, and he upholds them and sustains them. The entire universe is being upheld and sustained by our God. He's busy, people, and yet he hears us. It's a privilege. We are sinful, insignificant creatures in the grand scheme of things, and yet God hears us. How dare I think that God owes me a hearing? God owes me death and judgment. That's all God owes me. And yet he hears me when I pray. It's a privilege to be heard by God.